Hey everyone, and welcome back. Get ready, because in today's deep dive, we're diving headfirst into the world of crypto, trying to make sense of all the headlines from October 17th, 2024.
Yeah.
It's a wild ride out there, so consider this your roadmap.
What's really interesting right now is this kind of tug of war, between mainstream adoption, like all the institutional money pouring in, and those core principles of decentralization that made crypto so revolutionary in the first place.
Okay, let's break that down, but first let's get a quick snapshot of the market. Bitcoin's kind of hanging around, around $67,548, down a little bit. Analysts are keeping a close eye on that $70,000 mark, wondering if it'll finally make a move.
Yeah, it's been surprisingly resilient, hasn't it? Especially when you consider that those Bitcoin ETFs just hit a huge milestone.
Right, $20 billion in net inflows. That's institutional money flooding into Bitcoin, which you'd think would mean...
You'd think the price would be through the roof.
Exactly. So what's the deal? Why is Bitcoin stuck in this, 7-month slump?
Well, it's never just one factor, is it? The global economy is definitely playing a role, with the European Central Bank just cutting rates again. When traditional markets get shaky, even something like Bitcoin, often seen as a safe haven, can get caught in the turbulence.
That makes sense. It's like everyone's kind of holding their breath, waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got the whole regulatory landscape, which feels like a maze sometimes. Every country seems to be approaching crypto differently, and that lack of clear guidelines can make big investors hesitate.
So it's a strange combination of Wall Street diving into Bitcoin ETFs while everyone else is kind of tiptoeing around.
Exactly. You've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
And, this tension between big institutional interest and, that original decentralized spirit of crypto, it's popping up in other areas too, like take Ethereum, for example.
You mean the whole thing about it becoming more centralized?
Yeah.
That definitely got my attention.
Right. Over 88% of Ethereum blocks were produced by just 2 entities in October. Now, that might seem a little counterintuitive, when you consider what blockchain is supposed to be all about.
Yeah, I mean, isn't the whole point of blockchain to avoid having too much power concentrated in one place?
Exactly. And this has sparked a huge debate within the crypto community. Some argue that this level of centralization, it makes the network more vulnerable, right?
I mean, hypothetically, what's the worst case scenario here? Could these 2 entities just kind of hijack the whole Ethereum network? Hold it hostage?
It's not quite that straightforward. Ethereum has some pretty sophisticated mechanisms in place to make that incredibly difficult. For example, even if someone controlled a majority of the block production, it wouldn't be easy for them to, say, censor transactions or try to rewrite the blockchain's history.
Okay, so it's not like they could suddenly snap their fingers and be like, all your Ethereum belong to us. That's a relief.
Right, exactly. But it does highlight, I think, the ongoing challenges, when it comes to maintaining true decentralization as this technology keeps evolving at such a rapid pace. And it's something that, Ethereum's developers are very aware of and actively working on.
So they're trying to find ways to address this whole centralization thing.
Absolutely. And I think this kind of open discussion and debate, it's actually really healthy for the space. It forces everyone to confront potential weaknesses, have these tough conversations, and ultimately come up with solutions that benefit everyone involved. For you, the listener, I think it highlights just how important it is to really understand the nuances of these technologies, right? Don't just get swept up in the hype, but actually look under the hood a little bit.
Right, because what might look like good news on the surface, like billions of dollars flowing in, could actually have some hidden complexities.
Exactly. And speaking of headlines with layers, did you see that the FBI finally caught that hacker who broke into the SEC's Twitter account a while back?
Oh yeah, that was a wild one. Feels like ages ago though, right?
Yeah.
Time flies in the crypto world. But I guess it goes to show, even with all the talk about anonymity and decentralization, you can't escape the law forever.
And it just underscores how critical security is in this space, right? One vulnerability, one slip up, and it can have massive consequences.
Speaking of consequences,
Yeah.
Did you catch Donald Trump's latest move? The guy's gone from crypto skeptic to full-on crypto evangelist for his 2024 campaign. It's quite a turnaround.
It is. Talk about a plot twist. It shows how quickly the political winds can shift when crypto is involved. I mean, clearly he sees the potential to tack into a powerful and growing voter base here.
Well, yeah, when your campaign's pulling in, what was it, $7.5 million in crypto donations in just 1 quarter, I guess you start paying attention.
You pay attention very closely. And this is just the beginning. I think we're going to see crypto become even more intertwined with politics moving forward.
Okay, so we've got institutional money pouring into Bitcoin. Ethereum wrestling with centralization, the FBI hunting down hackers, and Donald Trump suddenly deciding he loves crypto. What else is on today's crypto roller coaster ride? Give me the rundown.
Well, Solana's not having the best day. Their network usage has taken a bit of a dip lately, and that's put some downward pressure on its price.
So less action on the network means the token price takes a hit. Makes sense when you think about it. It's like that saying,
If a tree falls in the forest.
and nobody's there to use the blockchain.
Exactly. It all comes down to real-world adoption in the end, doesn't it?
Totally. And, speaking of different parts of the crypto market, we're kind of seeing like two different stories playing out right now. You've got DeFi doing really well, but then NFTs seem to have lost their spark.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, remember when everyone and their grandma was going crazy for those Bored Apes?
I know, right? It's like even digital monkeys could become yesterday's news, I guess.
Apparently so. It really shows how within the crypto world, different sectors can be going in completely opposite directions. What's hot one day could be ice cold the next.
It's crypto in a nutshell, always keeping us guessing. Okay, before we wrap up for today, any other notable movers or shakers we should have on our radar?
Well, Litecoin's having a pretty solid day, up over 6%, trading at, $71.77. And then we've got QuantSwap, which is on fire right now, surging by, get this, 38.59%.
Well, hold on. Someone's got to let me in on those gains. But seriously, it's a good reminder that even with all the expert analysis and predictions, crypto's still full of surprises.
Absolutely. And even with all the volatility, it's important to note that the overall crypto market cap is actually holding strong, sitting at, get this, $2.31 trillion. Clearly, there's still a lot of faith in this space.
It's like a weird mix of cautious optimism and buckle your seatbelts all at the same time.
The perfect summary of the crypto experience, maybe. It brings us back to that big question we were talking about earlier, right? As more institutional money enters the picture and the technology itself keeps changing, how do we keep that original vision of decentralization alive, while embracing this new wave of mainstream adoption?
Yeah, it's a tough one. No easy answers there.
Yeah.
We've got Bitcoin ETFs raking in billions, Ethereum trying to figure out this centralization dilemma, even politicians like Donald Trump jumping on the crypto bandwagon.
Yeah.
It really does feel like we're at a crossroads.
We absolutely are. And it all comes down to, us staying informed, asking the critical questions, really thinking about what role we want to play as this technology continues to reshape the world.
That's something to think about. So if you had to make a prediction, what do you think the future holds? Will the crypto space become dominated by a few powerful players, or will that original dream of decentralization win out in the end?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And I think the answer is it's still being written.
Well said. One thing's for sure, it's going to be a wild ride. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of crypto for today. Thanks for joining us as we navigated the exciting and sometimes confusing landscape of digital currencies.
Until next time.
Stay curious, everyone.